Hello and welcome along and welcome back to Erlengrat. We are heading down to the shop because we need to get a piece of equipment to go on the back of this. If we have a look in our menu here, we can see that around our farm we've got all this ploughing done and finished. And around our farm we now need to do some lime before we can plant this. So plan for today is to get this all limed. Hopefully that should not take us too long to get done. And then once we've done that, we should be able to get this planted, which as you can see, we've got nothing in there at the moment. So yeah, very much hoping that we can get this both limed and planted today. And we might just throw some lime over our lower field as well. Because if you look at this, we turn this off, you can see that all of these fields need lime. So if we can lime our freshly cut grass down the bottom as well, we should be in a really good position. So let's bring the shop up and we're going to go across one and across to the fertilizer technology. Now, as we're only using standard game equipment and the DLCs, we only have these 4 available to us. And only 2 of these actually give us lime. The Breedle K105 and the 165. We do not need a huge piece of equipment for this. So we are going to take the K105. And to save ourselves a bit of cash, we are going to rent this. Because we're playing without seasons, if we go and use this and return it, it will lose value. So we're far better off spending the couple of grand and lend or borrowing this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to get the extension on here. I'm not 100% sure we need it, and I want to make sure that we're good. Wheel setup, we don't need anything other than the standard wheels on it, and we're going to save ourselves a bit of cash. We could do the spreading discs like that, but I don't really want to. You know, it won't take us. It'll take us slightly less long to do it, but you can see it's an extra it's an extra 8,000 on top, or yeah, it sort of throws everything higher. So we're gonna stay without the spreading discs and go with this setup here. So let's lease this. Yes, we do. Perfect. And head back out. Now we've got the weight on the front of this tractor. You can see here our weight is on there, which is we've only got a 700 kilogram weight at the moment. But this will fit on the front of our on the back of our little tractor here. Absolutely fine. Connect that up, and away we go. Yeah, our little Lindner here is absolutely perfect little tractor for this. And where we're going to go to fill up this line is not too far away. Just bring it round through the centre of town and up here to, I think this is the animal area that we have near our farm, or just the other side of the railway lines here. Yeah, this does. Oh no, sorry, this is the wood chips, isn't it? Yeah, that's the wood chip logging area. So the lime station is just the other side up here. I'll have to see if we can back this into that area. Reverse. I keep going to use the shifter on my with my wheel instead of just pressing the brake down. And I really want to see in the next version of Farm Sim or an upgrade to the game for shifters to be available and be a thing for Farm Sim if you've got one. It would be absolutely brilliant. Right, let's bring up this, and to fill this we want, well, it's L3 on here, so interesting that there seems to be nothing on the side panel that's a filling set there. So that is filling up. This is going to take a fair amount of money, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to fully fill it up because you know, we can always unload this lime. And we're going to have, if we expand the farm, we are going to have other fields that need lime at some point as well. And then back onto the road and get this up to our farm. Up this way. Yeah, and if we've got plenty left, then we'll come and do this lower field here. The grass is already regrowing on that lower field. So we need to be careful of time, because we're not using season from here, and because we're running this as a normal game, as a new farmer game, we do have faster growing crops. So it's only going to take 2-3 days for stuff to grow. So if we can get this planted and fertilized today, that would be good. Turn this on, and that should give us a nice bit of coverage. And zoom out, make sure that we've got it. Yeah, there we go. And there we are. So yeah, freshly ploughed field. This took forever. It took beyond. So I had this running afterwards, and it took another 2 hours of ploughing with that little plough to get the rest of this field done. I love that little plough, but if you are, for what you've got on here, I would probably suggest something a little bit larger for doing these fields. A great small field plough, but yeah, if you're running something larger or creating some larger fields on here, I would probably recommend something a little bit bigger. And possibly something a little bit bigger for doing this lime. This was more a case of seeing if we could spend the time or spend the money a little bit more effectively. The fact that we've still got 78,000 on here, having got ourselves nicely started, I think is great. We want to check the milk at some point. If we can start making money off the cows with some milk, that would be good. It should take a couple of days before we need to refill their food. And I'm hoping by the time we need to refill their food, we're going to be able to give them some mixed ration and up the amount that they do. So we'll see how that goes. This is a very narrow field in part. I'm almost tempted to split it into 2 fields down the middle here, and you can see actually in the ploughing where I did. So yeah, it's a very big odd-shaped field, but it is perfect for us to do the weeds on. Bottom end of the field is done, and we're up onto the top end, and we've got actually a nice amount of stuff left. I think though, what we're gonna do is try and work this way. It makes a little bit more sense, but there is quite a lot. We've got quite a lot of field to go, and yeah, we've not got enough lime left in this, I don't think, to do it. It's we're down to 16%. I don't know. It might be a little bit more, a little bit misleading as exactly how much we've got to go and how much lime we've got. 14%. I think we might have enough. If we do have enough, the thing we're going to have, though, is that our other field won't get limed because, yeah, with, what, 11, 12% left, we still have plenty of lime to finish. We have plenty of lime to finish this field. We really do. And I'm amazed. A full tank of this, I'm quite pleased, has worked out as well as it has. And I don't know, the other field we've got is so much smaller, but I don't think it's in a position where 5% of what we've got here is going to complete it. And I'm trying not to leave patches at the moment, because we've got to go back and do these patches. But when we're down to such a small amount left in our tank, every little bit is going to count. There we go. 4%. It seems to run out quicker to get to the end as well. Really does. There we go. 3% left. Hopefully there will be enough left in the end of this. Down to the last, 130. Right. So, therefore, what I want to do is do sort of brief spurts just to get these last few patches, and we'll come up onto them at that angle. And that just then covers these little areas we've got that don't have any coverage. Whoa. Yep, I got it. And last one, 7 litres. There we are, fully emptied. Missed a couple of spots, but nothing major. So I'm happy enough with that. Let's get this back to the farm, and then we'll return this spreader. And yes, we could use this spreader to do fertilizer. Might be worth it considering we still have it about. So yeah, actually, we will do that. We don't have a fertilizer fill point in our yard. And we actually don't have anywhere to store this at the moment either. I think I might have to put this on the grass beside. Is there anywhere in here? No. Okay. We'll just put this on the grass outside. Oh, actually there. Where our water trailer previously has gone. I think that is going to be a good place for us to put this. So there, and reverse it up and into that. Now, it's a lot cheaper for us to buy a fertilizer spreader, or it's even more cheaper just for us to hang on to this today to then next time go and do that and see where we are. Now, which of our tractors has the most? Oh, let's get these lights on properly. Finding which button it is. Always finding which button it is. There we go. Right, so we want to see how much our tractor has in the garage. It is 136 horsepower on this one, or 100 horsepower on the brewer, which the one I prefer to use, I think. We do not have a seeder. And similarly, I think it's probably worth us just renting a seeder for the day. We're not planning to do stuff particularly quickly with that, and it's something we're not going to use for a couple of days. Let's go back, and then we will go and find a seeder over here. So base game seeders, there's an Amazon D830 for 13,000. Wow, that would be a really on the back of our brewer. That would be a great little seeder. I do want to have a look at the one that we've got here in the DLC. So we've got this Pottinger here. It's 165 horsepower, it says here. If I go into here, it says 220. So it's a little bit confusing, this one on that. Either way, though, that is more horsepower than we have. There's a Cavernaland E-Drill Maxi. That's 130 horsepower. Again, won't go on the back of our brewer, but will go on the back of our current one. Yeah, so it's this one, which is 34,000. That has a width of 3 meters. Or we can have a look over here, and I think for now, I think it would be good for us. As considering buying one, 13,000 is not a lot of money. I do like the Amazon D830 Super, so we'll buy that. Yes, okay, and we'll switch tractor. We'll go and use something else, namely this. Starter up, and yeah, we're gonna head down to the shop, get some seed as well, and get our seeder filled up. Not everything we have on here has to be from the DLC. I do want to try and use as much DLC stuff as possible, but the thing that we found and when we've been looking at this DLC over the past couple of weeks has been that not everything is completely compatible. In the DLC, is completely compatible with everything else in the DLC. And the seeder is a really good example of that. Either way you look at that seeder, the seeder that comes in this, it is not. There is no tractor in this DLC that allows you to have it with it. So it's a little bit odd from that point of view. Now, I don't think we have, because we're using the standard stuff, we do have a pallet of seeds, which will be pretty good. So let's purchase those. Now, I don't know if this will fill this up completely, but we'll give it a go. Will that fill it up completely? No, we've got tons of seed, tons more seed here than we need. But that will do the trick. So we'll close that up. We've got no new crops in this. I think that's actually one thing I'd like to have seen in this DLC. We've got a new map. We don't have new crops. But, yeah, not the end of the world, but would have been nice to have, I think. So here we are up at our field. Been looking at this field and going, there must be a good way to seed this or work this field that isn't too weird. And it's, looking at the shape of it, it's just very, very strange. It's got this giant sort of curve into it. That kind of suggests that the bottom half of this field would do well being planted one way and the top half better the other way. And I'm just going, actually, let's start over this side here. Let's try and get ourselves at a decent angle. So that would be this angle here based on the map. And then do is get this seeded. Yeah, it's more. I'm just looking at how the field is. Yeah, if we can get this right, then we'll be sailing. There we go. So that is the angle I want is the angle to be lined up here, which I think is about 315 degrees. So at 315 degrees will align us with and we'll go across the way that we've done that there. Need to reverse that. See what angle on that. Or not. $3.15 is about $300. 4, 3, wow, it's not in line with the edge of this field at all. This bit. There we go. So that bit there is our best piece of line. So we'll back up till we hit the edge of the field, which is gonna be away by the looks of things. Yeah, it is. Yeah, up to here-ish. Right, turn on our seeder. Down it goes. We're going to bring it down. And try and keep our angle here to be 350. And that should give us, this should now give us the best way for us to seed this field. And we're going to end up doing it in two parts. We're going to end up doing, until we hit this bit where it curves back, we'll then have to come back and do the second half of it. But it should do okay. I'm going to start trying to be a little bit more realistic with my seeding now that I've got my line. We'll bring this so that the whole of the seeder is on the field as we're doing it. And it's 135 is our angle on the way back. And hopefully this should work much more in our favour at this point, and it'll be a much more realistic setup. And then we can do our headlands, and yeah, we should be a little bit quicker doing this seeding than we were with ploughing. So yeah, let's get this wheat in. getting to the point now where the field is divided. I mean, if we come back again the next time, we're going to end up doing the bit of headland I don't want to do. So, as we're down this end here, we're going to get this end of the field planted now. And having got this end of the field done, we're then going to head back and do the other side. It's, yeah, it's worked quite well so far, this little seeder. I do like the Amazon. It works well on this tractor. And yeah, we are keeping a good amount of seed back as well. We've only used up a third of our seed and probably done about a third of the field. This is actually a really good sized field for the kind of equipment we're using at the moment. It seems to use roughly an entire tank of whatever it is we have. So I'm hoping that that is going to continue as we go along round this field. So this is, yeah, so we're now into the bottom half. It's actually seeding it fairly well, especially with the slope. Most of how this field is now seeded is very much across the slope rather than up and down it. There is a bit where it comes from the higher end of the field to the lower end that it does go up or down the slope. As you can see over that way, you can see we come down into this bottom section. But this whole field here is sloping down towards the road there. So in general, we're not too bad as far as having seeded that. And it's good to have the whole field seeding at the same angle, or the same angle. So if so we're not doing funky things with the combine when we come to harvest. It should be fairly easy to harvest. I'm trying to keep an eye on my money because I'm trying not to borrow anything in this series, and we are currently at 63,000. Combines, standard combines, tend to be pretty expensive, so it may be a case that we have enough money back that we have to borrow a combine rather than actually buy one outright, which, doing things initially isn't the worst thing in the world, but I would obviously like to own certain equipment like that. We could possibly sell our plough, although again, if we're going to expand out into other fields around here and do the same sort of thing on those as we've done on this bit, then we are going to need a plough quite a bit going through those. But again, it's probably wise for us to look at something bigger. That little plough works well on this tractor, but it is a case of it takes a while. We'd have to, I think the best way for us to do things with new fields is probably going to be to set the hired worker on, let them sort it out, and then we come back later and see how things are. But anyway, I am going to get the rest of this field, or the rest of this bit of this field planted. We'll then go round to do the headlands and go and do the top end to get it finished. Nearly at the bottom end of this bit of the field now, and I think we're maybe 3 rows before we hit the headland. You can see though on the rest of the field the weeds have appeared. We're going to have to, what I'm going to do, and something I haven't done really in any of my games since seasons have come out, is get the weeder out next time. I think we'll get hold of a weeder, we'll get the field weeded, because it's something I've not done in a long while, and we'll run that. For now, we are just coming to the bottom end of this field here. And yeah, I think one more. I think we want to do one more row here. Then we're going to bring round the headland to the point where we can come into the field on the other edge. It may not be actually. It may not have gone far enough. Just then, end up with a patch that's missed. Don't want to do that. But so if we come up to this point here, lift up. And then we can go up to the top end. I'll turn my seeder off. Head up the top end here. And come round fill in this headland and then go across the middle of the field. It's quite a long way up here that we need to go to do this headland. As you can see, all the way back up here, and yeah, we are massively infested with weeds now. So I think it's going to be really good for us to do this. And then we'll, yeah, we'll go through that little section there, and then there's a little bit over that other way. So let's get this down, round through here, and I'll pick this up the other side of the field. And now we've made it round the other side of the field, we can just pick up from where we were. So just continue on along here and make sure that we're basically doing the same thing again. We're going to fill in this area here, keeping on this track. And hopefully we can then just go round once this is filled in and finish off the headland. Now we're down to 27% of our seeds, so we'll see how we're doing when we get a little bit closer to the end of this field. It could be that we may need a little bit more seed, but that's not a huge problem, as this as we know, we've got about 14, I think it's about 1,400 litres of seed waiting for us still at the shop to go and pick up. So we're going to have to pick that up at some point. And yeah, just having a little bit more seed in here will make all the difference to us. So let's get this field done, and then we can see, well, let's continue getting this field done, and let's see if we've got enough seeds to finish it, or if we need a trip to the shop. So we're coming up to the end of the field now, and we've just got this last little bit to do here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to head up and do this headland here, and we'll go round and up to the top of the field, and then we'll come back round and we'll start back from the other side where we came in to this bit a minute ago, and get this and get the rest of the headland done, so that we finish at the bottom bit where we just started the headland. That way we'll finish fairly near our farm and be enabled to just go straight down into our yard, which is where we want to be. Interesting thing here, where I've got weeds and I've already seeded, they're not disappearing, which is very, very interesting. It looks like we're pretty good all the way across here, so we'll bring this back and head this way. But that is, oh, actually no, the weeds did disappear. The bit that didn't was our first level of crop, and that shows just how quickly we've got the crop growing on this field. Half of our field has already started to grow, so it's not going to be very long that we have to solve things like this first set of weeds. So I'm just going to come down here and finish that bit off there, lift up, and we'll head round here to get the rest of this. So the fields grow really, really quickly in the way we've got this set up. I actually probably want to look at it and slow it down a little bit even for this, because we're on 5 times, and that is, well, it's interesting that the middle of the field hasn't grown. Very interesting that the middle of the field hasn't grown. It seems to be working its way across. So maybe the whole field will in a bit, but that's a little bit patchy at the moment. It doesn't matter though. We should be all good. This will all come together at some point. We do need to, as I said, get another level of fertilising on here, because this was grass. We already have a stage of fertilising on here as we ploughed that under. So we shouldn't have too much more fertilising to do on this field to get it ready before harvest. And that is our field all seeded. As I said last time, or I said earlier, we are going to have to go and get the extra seed up from the shop at some point. But for now, I think that's pretty good. I think we need another shed here. I think we're running low on space, so I think another shed is gonna be something that would be good for us. I'm just going to put this tractor here because next time we are going to be picking up with our other tractor over here. Hooking it back up actually to this and getting some fertilizer and getting some use out of that before we finish. And then, yeah, I think after that we might see if we can get rid of the weeds that are on the field with a weeder, because it's been a while since I've used one of those. For now, though, I'm going to leave this here, which means that all that remains is for me to say thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, drop us a comment, and give it a share. And for all the latest videos from Virtual Farmer, please subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.